Good morning, everyone. Today is a very special episode that we wanted to do for you guys. We are going to be having a tribute to our mentor and a person that's really made a big influence in our life, Mr. Bob Proctor.
My name is Veronica
And I'm
Mendez,
Dr. Aaron Garcia.
and we go live every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific. And so, if you feel that this video can benefit someone, feel free to share it. We go live on YouTube and on Facebook. And if you want to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, and you will be reminded of when we go live.
So this is the Manifestation Mindset Show, and on the show we teach you the mindset of manifesting, overcoming emotional challenges, and breaking through limitations. And for today, if you're joining with us and you have any comments you'd like to share with us, if you have any questions, feel free to type those into the comment feed. Let us know where you're tuning in from, because we always like to see where people are watching. We get people from all over the world. Love to just say hi, and even if you're new or if you're watching the replay, drop us a line here into the comment feed. And so, before we get into today's episode, we always like to start off with a bit of inspiration with our inspirational moments with Veronica.
So, inspirational moments is when I like to share something inspirational. Sometimes it's a reading, a writing, a quote from a book. Today I'm going to share, because we are doing a tribute to Bob Proctor. I'm going to read something from his book, which is called This is Bob Proctor. And here's the book. There you go. And he even autographed this for us. There's his autograph. I don't know.
There it is.
There it is. All right. So the title of this page that I'm about to read is called Our Gift. And it says, "Nature gave a wonderful gift to most of her little creatures, a gift we call protective coloring, so that the deer blends into the forest, the fish into the stream, and the bird into the tree. But from one notable creature was this gift withheld. The human creature stands out like a sore thumb on any sort of terrain. I believe this is because the human was given a much greater gift. You and I have the godlike power to make our surroundings change to fit us. When you change or improve as a person, your environment and surroundings change to reflect this improvement. Just as you can tell what a business is doing for a community by observing what the community is doing for the business, so can you, with a few notable exceptions, tell what a person is doing for the community by assessing what the community has done for the person." So it's saying like we don't have like a protective coating where we can hide and blend, because in reality we're not really meant to hide. We're meant to share what we have to offer the world and stand out. And like why go into hiding when we have all these talents, all these gifts? And there's some people that are great singers, some they play great instruments, and just so many different talents and abilities that we have. So why hide? Bring it out.
And that's one thing we try to impress on this in this show and in our work that we do with people, is to help move past the emotions, the fears that we have. What stops us from moving forward in our life to do the things that we want to do. And a lot of times we have to work on our mindset, we have to work on our attitudes, we have to work through letting go of past emotional experiences that we've had that are still driving our behaviors and attitudes today. And this works out very well because we were inspired and really blessed to follow Bob Proctor's work, and it's been a huge influence in the work that we do now. Studying his work for now a few years, and it's just been 4 days ago. I think it was on the 4th, or a few days ago. Bob Proctor passed away, and he was at the age, I believe, 87. And for those of you that don't know who Bob Proctor is, he's one of the really well known in the personal development industry. He's helped millions of people around the world to help change their lives, to build great incomes, to improve their families, to improve their whole lifestyles. And he's just just a great thinker and very knowledgeable about the mind.
Yeah, and the one thing, it was really changing your mindset and improving the mindset. What is what we learned from him. And It's funny, the first time we met Bob, it was at an event called Secret Knock, and we didn't know about Bob at that time, and
Hmm.
he talked about a cleaning company that he grew and all this stuff. So we're like, oh, he must be from Procter and Gamble. Like we had no idea, and then we're like, wait a minute, Procter and Gamble started like years ago. Maybe he was like part of the family or something, and we had no idea. And then and then we even took a picture with him that day we met him
Yeah.
that first time, um, and lo and behold, it was the Bob Proctor and not Procter and Gamble.
And later on, we were with some friends, and we started really getting into the work of mindset, and it was a big transition in the work that Veronica and I do. And Bob was a major influence. In fact, we were house sitting for some friends of ours, and when we were there, they happened to have a whole a video series of an event that Bob did with Mary Morrissey, who was a friend of his and also another leader in the personal development industry. And we got to watch that, and it was our first experience to figure out, okay, what is it that they teach? And
Hmm.
when he started talking about the mind, it was like, wow, this is something that's been calling us because we've been studying the mind, and it just the information that came out was so incredible because it was answering a lot of the questions that I had. It started to things that I was already starting to intuit were now the pieces were coming together. Like this is what we're doing. This is what's happening. I just didn't know it at the time, but Bob helped to put a lot of that stuff together for me.
Yeah, and he was really great at explaining the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and how it works. And he would draw this stickman figure, which he learned from someone else, but it was really, it still is great information. And speaking of people with talents and things like that, I want to say hello to Patrick Carney, who's watching. He's a great artist, and he doesn't hide his work. He puts it out there as well. And yeah, if you know Patrick, he does a lot of art, like celebrity art, things like that, and portraits, and very nice work. And then we have Antonio Chavez. He says, I'm great at talking and making people laugh. Yeah,
Mhm.
that as well is a gift. And everything that we do, our talents, they're all gifts. And so it's very, very interesting to see all the different talents from everyone.
Also, want to say hello to Gil, who's joining us on YouTube right now. He says, "Good morning, my friends. Good morning to everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us."
Yeah, good morning.
So we're paying our tributes to Bob Proctor, and we never really sat down and had long conversations with Bob. It was like usually passing by. We took a picture. I think you've had more of a conversation with him than I got to have, but we
Yeah,
were following
that
his
was
work for
interesting.
years, and it was interesting because it was a few years ago, I believe in 2019. We were constantly watching his videos. He was he's on YouTube. If you guys want to follow him, and Veronica just randomly gets this email. Say,
Mhm.
hey, Bob Proctor is coming to California and they're doing an event. And in this event, it's not just going to be him, but it was going to be Mary Morrissey, who's another person that we follow. It was going to be Les Brown, who's big in the speaking industry, and another friend of ours was Dave Meltzer, and they were all going to be on the stage together, one place, and it just happened to show up in your email one day.
Yeah. Yeah, and it might have been in spam, but I'm not sure. And I clicked on it, and I'm like, we got to go to this. And then that's where we met him. And Bob was just he was ready to go up on stage, and he was just kind of I could see him like he was rehearsing in his mind what he was gonna say and things like that, or maybe it just flows with him, I think. But he was just sitting there, and he had his book, the Think and Grow Rich, the original one that was given to him years ago, and he had it tied with the rubber band, and it was falling apart. And I just went up to him like, "Hi, Bob," like I'm Veronica, and nice to meet you. We've been studying your work for years, and I was just having a conversation, but I didn't hold myself back because it's Bob Proctor. It's like I'm just gonna go talk to him. Just regular conversation. Really nice guy, and just he's like, he's like, have you been following my work? He's like, you're in for a treat, and then he was gonna go up pretty soon, so I didn't want to take too much of his time, but it was a great experience.
Yeah, and that event was the filming of the world's greatest motivators, and it was interesting just the way it happened because we talk about manifesting here on the show, and a lot of it's mindset and things that you put out into the universe, and it was something that we've been talking about for a while. Like we would love to go to one of Bob's events or meet with Bob or work with him in some way. We put it out there, and then all of a sudden that shows up, and we also talk about all these other people, and they were just the coincidence of them all being in one place at the same time. And also for us, it was local.
Yeah.
So we got to go up for the day and not only just go up and meet with them, we got to go into the back room just because, we provided some things for them. We were helping out. And that's how we got to talk with Bob in the back room before we went on.
I actually made a cake with Bob popping out of the cake. Not just Bob, though. It was Bob, Mary, Les Brown, and David Meltzer.
David Meltzer.
All of them popping out of the cake.
And so then we got to actually watch him do like almost like a 2-hour talk.
Yeah.
Live, front row, and it was such an amazing experience to all the stuff that we've been hearing for years to see the energy of it. And no matter how many times you hear it, it's still good to hear. And that's one of the lessons that I have always learned from Bob. And he says that, to train your subconscious mind and to develop new habits and new paradigm, you want to make things change. Like you have to repeat things over and over again. If you're going to study something, you have to read it over and over again until it sinks in, not just read it once or do it once. It's like you have to repeat it until you develop a whole new consciousness. And that's something that he was really masterful at. Sometimes he would have like a book and not just read the whole book. He would study a page or a paragraph for like months.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that he grasped the concept of what that meant, not just on an intellectual level, but an emotional, physical level too.
Yeah, and Aaron and I studied his material, and we'd listen to it like for almost a whole year, like pretty much almost every day, at least weekly, and we would like listen to it over and over. And even though it was the same content, it was almost like you learned something new every time. So even though like you read a book once, it's like you sometimes forget a few of the things that are in there. So it's always good to go back a second time, a third time, and reread it because it's like maybe in that moment you weren't understanding certain things, but then and the next time you go, it's the right timing to be able to open up and listen to the message.
Yeah. And another lesson that I always take from Bob that has always been helpful for us, and I hope it's helpful for you too, is Bob always talked about the concept of setting goals. And it wasn't something he came up with. This is just, from him, when we talk about reading, he read Think and Grow Rich every day since like 1961. And even to the day he passed, he was still reading it because he always learned something new. So he's always reading the same book over and over again for over like a long time.
I think he said hours.
Since 61, it's almost like 80, like 60, 80 years, something like that. And so one thing he talked about was goal setting. And he always talked about there's 3 types of goals. There's an A goal, a B goal, and then there's a C goal. And the A goal is something that, you want to do something. You've already done it. You know how to do it. If you've bought a car before and you want a new car, that you already know how to do that. So it's not really challenging for you. It's something you can just go out and do again. The B goal was something that maybe you haven't done it, but you know how to do it. You know that, okay, I got to do steps A, B, C, and D in order for me to achieve this. And so you know how to do it. So it's a little challenging, but not too much. He always stressed the next one, which is the C goal.
The C goal is something that you've never done before, and you have no idea how you're going to do it. He's like, those are the ones that you want to stretch for, because if it scares you, then that's something you need to go for. And not scary like oh, I'm gonna get myself killed, not that type of scary, but something that just, it's like so big that you don't know. It's like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Maybe there's something you've been wanting to do, like something that's really like, oh, I can't do that, or you find there's a little bit of fear or hesitation with it. That's what a C goal would feel like. It's something big. It's your big dream. It's your big vision. What would you love to do in your life if you had all the money, the resources, the support, and you couldn't fail at it, what would you really be doing in your life? And this is what he taught to people: is these are the types of things that you want to set, and that's what he worked with.
Yeah.
And it's something that's always stuck in our minds, and we're always setting those. And yes, we have a big vision that we want to do, and it has been scary at times, and sometimes it still is scary because we never know how it's going to happen, how it's going to show up. We just allow it to, put that energy out into the universe, keep the thought about it, keep working one step at a time. It's actually something that inspired us to do these live shows.
Yeah.
Bob was a major inspiration for this.
Yeah, because before that, it's like we were working in an office, doing the daily thing, kind of doing the same thing pretty much every day, different people. But Aaron would always say, I don't want to be in an office. I don't want to be in an office. And then it happened where we weren't in an office anymore. And it's like, okay, well, we got like some information, like a download of like start a show. We're like, what are we going to talk about? and it's like, okay, start a show. Okay. And so we did it. And at the beginning, it's like, it was, like we were nervous and like, what do we do? but it worked out. And so far it's been going well.
Yeah. I've just been so fascinated with understanding how the mind works and how we can, just with a thought process that we can change energy, we can change our lives. That's what true transformation is. It all starts from within us. When we talk about, manifesting things in our life, this show, manifestation mindset, everything starts with a mindset. It's understanding what it is that you truly want in your life. It's understanding your energy and what you think about, what you feel on the inside, stuff you hold on to, all has an effect on what's creating in your outside environment. And that's one thing that we wanted to share and teach, and that's why we studied it, because we enjoy and love this information, because we do it in our own life too.
And for those people who know me from years ago, like Antonio, he knew me from like middle school. I was like really, really shy, and there's no way I would be able to be doing these shows back then, like even maybe 15 years ago, because I couldn't look at the camera without like turning away and laughing. I was just like so shy, and I didn't, I don't know, I just felt like I couldn't do it. But then after I met Aaron, like we started going to Toastmasters together, getting up in front of people and doing speeches and things like that. And I actually did a speech in college, like in front of, like I was a valedictorian for the class, and I had to prepare a speech. But yeah, it's a little nervous at the beginning, especially when you don't have the experience. But once you do it, it just kind of it's natural. But you still get the butterflies sometimes, like going up on stage. Even the people who have done it for a while, like when we met Bob, I could tell that he still gets like a little nervous going up there, but you do it anyway.
But it's interesting, like once he's on the stage,
Oh
he
yeah.
he lights up. Just if those of you have ever listened to Bob or ever been in his presence when he's speaking on stage, it just, his passion comes out because he loves this information. He teaches universal laws. He teaches how the law of attraction really works. One of the other lessons that I've taken from him is the concept of making decisions. And that was a whole new concept for me when I started learning it from him. And he teaches people, like, you have learn to make decision. Making decisions is the opposite of, or the antidote for procrastination. If you're procrastinating and you're not sure about things, because you haven't really decided what it is you're going to do or what you want. And so he says, once you make a firm decision, even if it's a wrong decision, it's still a decision. Get into the habit of making decisions so you can move forward. And sometimes we still work around that. Sometimes old habits can come in, and what I've learned is learning to make those decisions. This is something that we try to teach with our daughter, is not to do everything for her. We have to teach her. She expects us to make all her decisions for her. I've learned from Bob is like, let her decide what it is that she wants, because when she decides what she wants, it's better for her, and it's also, when we make our own decisions, it's better for us.
Yeah, I usually allow. I since she was little, I've allowed her to make her own decisions, because I didn't like when my parents made decisions for me, because it's like, well, I have no choice. Like, what's going on. So I know how that feels, and I wanted her to be able to grow up to, okay, you can wear whatever you want to school, things like that, and it's been good. Like she doesn't feel like she has to hide who she truly is, and it's like she wants to wear that, let her wear it. And so I think that's helped her to just be who she is versus trying to be somebody else.
Yeah. And so for all of you who are watching, we're paying this tribute to Bob Proctor, who just recently passed away, and he's just been such a great mentor behind the scenes for us. Even though we've never worked personally with him, his legacy lives on in his teachings, and that's what we followed for many years now, and it's made a huge impact on our life, and we just want to share our gratitude for the work that he's done, the work that's going to keep coming through them, because their company, which is the Proctor Gallagher Institute, they're still going to be putting things on and sharing it. He's got so much wisdom, so much content, and this day and age, it's great because he's recorded so much that his content will always be available. He will always live within all of us, and we highly recommend, if you ever get an opportunity, if you haven't done so yet, go listen and study some of his work.
And it's interesting. Earlier, Aaron mentioned about Bob that he comes on stage with like full of energy, and his voice is just so powerful. When we first started listening to Bob and watching his videos, I was like, he almost scared me because his voice is so powerful, and I'm like, it sounds like he's yelling at me. And then I had to clear some emotional stuff around that, because like my dad used to yell at me, when I was a kid. So I'm like that, let's just clear this energy from the past, because it's like I want to be able to enjoy Bob and his teachings without feeling like he's yelling at me. So we did our work, and Aaron cleared that part of that emotion of maybe being scared of being yelled at, and then so after that I was able to really enjoy his teachings and his message that he had for us. And it was good that we did it before we went to the world's greatest motivators and saw him in person. Yeah, because his voice is powerful, and it's like, whoa, like when he speaks, it's like you pay attention.
Yeah. I remember when we started to do our shows, we started off with doing interviews with people, and I always remember that we had like a wish list of people that we would love to have to be able to interview, and one of those was Bob, and it was like a big goal for us to see, hey, at the time, we're just doing a basic live here on Facebook, and now we're on Facebook and YouTube. We thought, wouldn't that be cool to be able to for Bob Proctor to come on and share his wisdom with us and for you guys, and we never got that opportunity to do that. In fact, I did reach out at one point, but he was so busy because you got to book him like a year in ahead, because he's speaking all over the world. And I kept that email just in case there was another time. But there's times that we can miss opportunities, and are we taking action on that to really make something like that happen? And with this episode, I think this is an opportunity to be able to do that, is to talk with him, share his work, share the things that he's done for us. And if you're watching, I'd love to know if you've followed his work, how it's helped you. You can put those here into the comment feed. But it's very special for us to do this today.
Yeah, and even though we didn't get to personally have Bob as our mentor, but he actually was, just by all his work that we've studied throughout the years, and not just one time. It was like constantly. I feel like he was a mentor, even though he wasn't physically there, but just watching his videos over and over, and we've learned so much from that.
Yeah, and it's changed the way that we behave. It's changed everything in our life. Even in our, I know that it's probably strengthened our relationship as well, because Veronica and I, we study into this work. We understand how the mind works, how we let things go, and we've been able to open and communicate with each other because of this, and also helping other people when they're struggling with something, and that's been something that's been very huge for us, and why we do this, the work that we continue to do, really is been inspired by Mr. Bob Proctor.
Yeah, and Bob, for those of you who are not very familiar, he was in that movie called The Secret. And that's where, I think that's where a lot of people got to know him more, like who he was, because
Hmm.
that movie went around and people all over the world saw it. And that's what he mentions, that's when people like overnight knew who Bob Proctor was.
Even though he was already successful.
Yeah, yeah. They just knew of him and who he was.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
yeah, and so this tribute today that we're having for Bob Proctor, and he was 87. And even to the day he passed, he was still going pretty heavy. He had
Hmm.
more energy than than a lot of people in their 20s and their 30s because he had such a big passion for what he did, and his goal is he just wanted to teach this to people. He wanted
Hmm.
to help people to realize that you have the power within you to change your life, and there's tools that you can have to do that. And one of the biggest things he talked about is Rethink and Grow Rich, because that was the book that changed his life. And because it changed his, he constantly kept reading that. And
Hmm.
then he studied. It was a big study, huge library. In fact, why you see this bookcase here on the side, before we had it behind us, and we have all this up here, it's because like that was inspired by Bob Proctor, because I loved watching his
Hmm.
videos, and he just had his bookcase of all the wisdom and the knowledge that he had behind him. And then it was like, oh, that would be something cool to do in our setup. So I always like to have a bit of the bookcase here
Hmm.
on our shows, because that was inspired by Bob. And and it's great because we have a lot of some of his books here and some of his
Yeah.
work as well.
Yeah. So it's you know, I hope you guys enjoyed, listening about Bob and this tribute for him. And I know he's made a huge difference in many lives. And teaching about the mind, your mindset, and that you can change anything in your life, and it's never too late. Even though, like, say you're in your mid 40s, 50s, whatever it is, like you can still make a change in your life. And he said he was never going to retire and he was going to keep teaching until the day he dies, and that's exactly what he did. And it's like he teaches to leave a legacy when you pass away. And yeah, he's left a huge legacy. So
Yeah.
we hope you enjoyed this tribute to Bob Proctor.
And so you guys have been watching the Manifestation Mindset Show, our tribute to Mr. Bob Proctor. We are live here every Mondays at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
So please give us a thumbs up and share it with someone if you feel they could benefit from it. Also, to be reminded of when we go live, click on the bell icon so you could subscribe and get the notifications of when we go live.
And join us next week. It is
Yeah.
Valentine's Day. We have a very special episode for you, another special episode for you guys. We have an interview that we did with a man named Mr. Daniel Proc, who channeled books through Jesus. And it's all called The Book of Love, and another few series of books. And he's going to share his story and his experience with you, and it's really fascinating. So,
Yeah, very
we'll
interesting.
love you guys to join us with us on that show for a special Valentine's episode.
Yeah, and he's going to be giving away a free ebook on Amazon only on that day. So February 14th, 2022, you can get his free ebook. It's very interesting, and I look forward um, to listening to that.
Yeah, and you can join us. We'll be live both on Facebook and YouTube. Our links are right here. Go at Aaron and Veronica if you're watching on Facebook. And also, you can go to our YouTube channel if you want to watch all of our past and future episodes. You can go to aaronveronica.com. That will take you directly to our YouTube page. And you can see all of our episodes and all the upcoming stuff that we have. So be there, join us. We'd love to have you guys there. And we will see you next time.
All right, have a great day.
Bye, guys.